I'm an earthworm woman. In the mornings, I fill my tanks by breathing the energy of the sea and tasting the power of the sun penetrating my skin. There's an air of no care, which comes with age, and I hold my head up proudly, liking who I've become. I'm not afraid of smells, or dirt, or to walk barefoot across the stones. Sometimes I wade through the shallow water just to embrace its fluid element, my hair often crazy and loose, being pulled by and flying in the wind. I can be glamorous if I want to, although makeup was never my thing. And I've learnt that life is for living, not fearing, and so I absorb it like a sponge. Good morning, everyone. We'll make a little bit of a slow start this morning. I have a problem. I'm an early person. I'm an over earlier. I can't help it. If I have an appointment, if I have to meet someone, even for this Earthwormwoman, I'm always here very early. And my guest today is the opposite. She just told me. She's a late person. So, and she talks really fast. She wonders whether she compensates for her being late by talking really fast. Anyway, her name is Evie, and I'm just going to talk for a bit because she's still not here. I hope she's not having trouble. I'll send her a few more messages. I met Evie quite a few years ago when we started doing a thing called Raw Women and Grand Rising Madalena, and absolutely going to be working with you shortly on your beautiful products, Intimate Duet and more. I'll see you on Saturday at the market. Yes, I met Evie probably maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, 10 even, when we were doing a thing called Raw Women. And she's a makeup artist, but she's also a hairdresser. And yeah, it's sort of she's just been one of those people that I've noticed a lot. And because she's not here yet, I'm going to just talk about her. I notice her a lot because she's like somebody who's incongruous to two parts of her. I can see she has a worth issue, right? So which a lot of women do, right? And we're going to talk about that if she comes on, which I hope she does. She has a worth issue, and she compensates, I feel, by doing the opposite. And she's very glamorous and she's very attractive, but for some reason, you can see she's got low worth. And I find it a very interesting thing that she actually does put a lot of sexual content out and very much flaunts in a good way her body, and is very, she's got a great looking body and everything. But there's this other part of her which I can tell, and I'm really interested to know about that and where it comes from. And we have, as women, and anybody can jump in here because she's not here, we do have a problem with worth. We have, and it's like if you feel good about yourself and you put yourself out there, if you pose a lot or if you put pictures of yourself out there, you're seen by society as someone who is basic, whatever the equivalent of a show off, you're up yourself kind of thing in the olden days terms. But why? Why can't you feel, hi Belinda, why can't you feel good about yourself? Why can't you feel attractive and continue to show that to other people? I think that this is a real problem. And as long as it doesn't harm anyone else, as long as it's not insulting or degrading, we should be able to. I mean, we're allowed to go and dress up and go out. Anyway, I think it's around the way that people dress up. I'm just going to have to text her and see if she's okay. She's ran in and got her laptop. Okay, waiting for you. I'll just put. So, yeah. Does anyone else feel? Well, I guess it depends on who you are and what sort of person you are, what you put out. Because I like putting out good stuff, interesting, powerful shots and things like that. And it doesn't mean that I think I'm better than anyone else. Anyway, we will talk about things like that when she turns up, because she's got a really interesting story as well from where her background and her family. They're originally from Cambodia, and she just lost her father as well. So we'll wait for Evie. What else? Here she comes. Here she is. There we go. She's in the car.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Fantastic.
I can't get that AirPod to work. Oh my God!
I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm always late. I'm sorry.
So I said that. I said number one, she's always late. And the other thing I was talking about, what we're going to be talking about. So this is Evie. We're going to be talking about worth and how. I don't know about why. As women, it's almost like a built-in instinct that we're not allowed to feel good about ourselves. We're not allowed to feel attractive, you're attractive. You put yourself out there as an attractive woman. And at the same time, I'm really interested to know how do people respond to that? Let's just start there and we'll go backwards.
With me? I know. I think I've caused many marriages fights.
Many, what's that?
And even not like, no, it's just really hard. I think I just look different too. I think that's most of it. And I'm quite comfortable in how I dress and how I am. And I think not a lot of people can actually feel sometimes that comfortable, and I think that just intimidates people even when I've done nothing. But at the end of the day,
you shouldn't have to feel bad about that.
Right there,
it shouldn't be a. So she's just getting out of her Uber. She is actually a superstar.
Sorry, guys.
She has a salon in Scoresby. Yeah. So when she comes out and she comes into the studio, into her thing, we'll keep talking. But I'm really interested in your story, your background.
Yeah, sorry. And my laptop's about to go flat too, just so everyone knows.
Oh, when you plug it in. So you referred to yourself as a love child. So we'll go back to that when you know.
Did you say love child?
Love child.
Did I say love child? I wish I need some more about that.
Oh, you didn't say love child. Oh, okay.
I thought you said, I consider myself a love child. I'm like, no.
Of your parents.
Huh?
Of your parents.
Yes, I'm not. Well,
so just you plug your phone in. I'm just going to talk to them about people are usually threatened by women who are confident and sexually confident. Now that's it. That's what I feel you are. And you've but your story is, you've done a hard slog or a hard even with your marriage and everything thing to get there. So it's like, no, are you supposed to stay and living in a feeling shit about yourself? Because see, look, there she is in her she does hair extensions, so I'm probably not going to be going to her. My hair will be touching the floor.
Oh, there you go. Oh, sorry guys.
Welcome. Anyway, so you don't. I want to just go back to your story. So you told me you've recently lost your dad, and I'm very sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
So that's a hard thing for anybody, and it seems like in your family, your siblings are much older than you.
Yeah,
Is that
I'm the
right?
youngest of.
Yeah.
There was 9 before two passed away before I was born.
Oh, wow.
It's a long story with the love child thing. If you want me to half go there,
Oh, yeah. So
but
you
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yes. Tell me about
I
the
don't
love
know. I
child
don't know
bit.
yet, but it's been a big controversy in the family because no one will ever admit it. Like no one will say like even when I say like just say I'm your child, and no, they just go you're being silly,
What?
and it's been ongoing. And no one will buy me a DNA test because I feel bad doing it myself. But I did buy a heritage one, but then my dad passed, so I feel guilt.
Wow. So
Yeah, so
you
I
feel
can't.
like it's maybe not your father, or is it you? It's
No,
obviously your
oh, he's
mother.
definitely my father, but I'm not sure if my mother's my mother.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
I
I look
obviously
exactly like
didn't want
him.
to put your that picture up that you put on Facebook, but that was a really interesting shot because all your
Oh,
siblings there are
I like,
very
yeah.
it's a
Do you want to
funeral.
really know the star of the shot? So I talked because I instigated this thing, and I had to get my daughter to ask because I'm like, I have to stay quiet and shut up you. And I said, put in the lines of from oldest to youngest.
Yeah.
And I sort of stood at the end, and then they're like a bit awkwardly like that. And then someone's like, oh, someone has to get at the front. So I wasn't at the front next to my mum yet. I was just crouched down stupid on the right
Right.
side.
Yeah.
And then eventually people saw how stupid it even more looked. So they're like, oh, go and, go next to mum. Like, they'll go sit next to your mum. And it
Mm.
ended up being perfect shot in the end. Like, I
Yes.
love that shot. But
It's
yeah,
really
that's how
powerful.
it is. I'm like an awkward girl. And like, I can sit out at a table and people be like, oh, they'll speak Cambodian, not knowing that I can speak Cambodian, and be like, who's that
Mm.
girl? And blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, that's, hockey mum. Oh, the brother's sister, and they're like, oh, sister-in-law. They're like sister-in-law, and I'm like, no, and I'll speak Cambodian to them, and they'll be
Wow.
like, what,
Yep.
what? Like they're like thought that I was just like Vietnamese or something, which my dad is Vietnamese, and
Right.
yeah, it's just like that.
So your dad, you said you came from the Pol Pot time.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, my whole family, yeah, it was hard
but
because he's Vietnamese. So
yeah.
Pol Pot was killing off all Vietnamese and, teachers and like I did a teacher and stuff. And so he had to play dumb, and he made our whole family like that's why we don't know Vietnamese, to just not speak. He couldn't really teach us it. And we just
So
spoke
he was in
Cambodian. And
Cambodia, obviously.
yeah, we were in
Yeah.
Cambodia, but they were killing off all
The
the
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese and
Yeah.
stuff. Pol Pot was doing all that. So he's
Yeah.
lost a lot of family too. Yeah.
My light's really shit.
Yeah. So then,
So wow, he fled um, during that time with how many kids then?
yeah, 9. I mean, sorry, 7, 7, 7. I was just born. I was only 10
Oh,
months old. Yeah, I was
you
10
were
months
actually
old.
there as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was there. A lot of things. I'm very lucky because my family, I guess like that's why I miss like when we were younger. We bonded very well, and we made everything fun. We made everything like not seem. We all worked hard, and it didn't set for me what my main memories are. I don't see it in a bad place. I remember a lot of fun things, but
Yeah.
I do have like dreams or flashback, and I thought that they were just dreams, and then I find out they're memories of some certain things,
And
and
is
that's
that
what
what when you said you were actually in a camp for 5 years?
Yeah, well, and we were in Paldang, like that's the main one that you see in like, first my father killing, but everyone has to watch the Killing Field. That's the original one,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
end of the
yeah.
story I won't tell you, but it's just like that's how I feel.
Hmm.
If you see the end of the story, the main guy in it, his feeling, just that the last bit when he sort of meets his friend, or whatever. It's the only way I can explain how I feel as a refugee and as like my family, like everything we did, and I'm very grateful. I've never ever, when I watch the news, sometimes when it's like when people are like, oh, we don't get looked after as refugee. For me, we did, and even if it didn't seem like much to some people now these days, because a lot of people feel entitled, we were so happy that everything, like if you get a box of
Yeah.
like clothing,
Well, is
like
it okay if
just
I just pass you back for a second? Because so if you were there from a few months old to 5,
yeah,
that's when you
I was
would
nearly
have
6. I was nearly 6 years old when I came,
incredible memories. Wow.
and
And actually, was it where was the camp?
so it's on the border of Thailand and Cambodia, and it's called Kaodang, and it's the main one that was at that time, and it went on break. So apparently it's still there. So
Hmm.
I went back and visited another camp when we went to visit one of my mum's friends. sister or something when I went to Thailand when I was younger.
You went back to visit. Gosh,
It was a different camp, but it was sort of like pretty much sort of like all the same, like close
I've
to
just
it.
got
It was
horrendous
in
lighting. I'm
Thailand
sorry.
border.
You're doing a fringe. I'm doing my lighting. 2 seconds.
So I know I need lighting too, but it'll do for now.
I just,
Yeah.
oh God, it's a bit better maybe.
Oh, I need more
Um,
blush.
no, I know I've got red face. So. I find that fascinating because as a child, did you? I wonder even if you realised that you were in such a thing. You know.
I don't think I did. That's the thing. I didn't know any different, and it was weird because even like saying like I came to Australia when I was in Australia, like this boy was saying a dunny, and I didn't know what a dunny was in grade
Mm,
3, and we got my dad was teaching English in the camp, so we got taught like
I see.
bathroom, washroom, so we
Wow.
knew like the sort of like whatever English we knew. So it was really funny. I got given a lot of shit for that kind of stuff, but
Mm,
yeah. Um, I, when I realized like what was sort of still happening with my sort of flashbacks and stuff, yeah, we weren't safe in the camp. We definitely weren't safe in the camp.
mm.
It was still really bad. We just got a bit more looked after during day or portions, and it was more the ticket to the new future was
Yeah,
what
and so
we
you
hung
knew
on
you were
to. And
coming to Australia,
yeah,
did you?
well,
Yeah.
like we could have been in like France, I would have probably been Nice, and then
Wow.
America would have been Seattle because I went back to visit someone from. I went to visit someone from the camp in Seattle, from like he's one of my parents' friends, and
Yeah. So
yeah,
you
and I
didn't
just
know where you were going. Gosh.
yeah, and America was easier to get into, but we had cousins here, and my dad's like, nah, Australia's the place to go, so that's why we waited. Like we could have probably gone earlier. And even my sister, my elder sister, who's never remarried, it always breaks our heart when we think about her story because her husband left her in the camp while she was pregnant with my niece, who's like 15 months younger than me. And
Wow.
yeah, so she fell in love finally because she was a nurse and everything, and he was going to America, and she in the end just like everyone was telling her to go because they saw her happy and this guy was a good guy, and she said no, I have to stay with my family, and that was her last love. Like, and it's sort
My
of like
goodness,
yeah, it's
that's this is
crazy, yeah,
it's an incredible
yeah.
story
Because
because
this
there
is
were
this is
there.
also like about 40 years ago, over 40 years ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, I sort of forget how old I am. So then I'm like, oh wow, like it's I've lived a bit. I thought I hadn't, but I have.
Of
Um,
course,
yeah,
incredibly. It's incredible stuff to build to build who you are on
yeah,
because no, how many people have been through that, you know?
yeah.
Um, and so when you
Yeah,
arrived
it's
here,
funny. I was at the pub just the other night, and the lady was like, she must have seen one of my posts, but she didn't read it. Because I didn't write it so openly that my dad passed. But if someone read the whole like thing, they know. But it was like she's just like you in polpot. You have to believe you are like worth everything. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. She goes,
no,
no one will even know what you went through. And she was funny because she was telling about how because she was a German, and her mother and father were only little kids in that time in World War II, and she's just like they help house Jews through the time, and it was like she just got called all these names, and she was telling me about how she got called all these names because she's about 15 years older than me. She's like
yeah,
the trauma I felt, and then just watching my parents, she's I don't think you realize what you've got a lot of trauma that you don't realize that but you've done
very
to
likely. I mean,
like you've
do you
done so
remember
well to
feeling?
just like not
Yeah, well,
have
well, maybe you
yeah.
haven't, but do you remember feeling that it was a safe place?
Um,
Or,
some for me, it was more because of my family. I've always think my family made me think it was a safe place
yeah.
because I mean, we dug holes. They dug holes. Well, I'm going to say we, but my parents and I dug holes under the bed, so everyone would hide under the bed at night when they knew the Khmer Rouge were. They'll still come in and rob us and stuff.
Oh my
And
God.
I always hear the story of like my brother was telling me about like how next door they because we're in like just shacks, like whatever what do you call it, the leaves, the coconut,
Yeah.
and like we can hear what's happening next door, like as well, like huts like side by side like that, like beach
Mm.
houses, and they were getting bashed, they were getting like everything, and my mum used to do a because everyone would hide their gold money, dig holes wherever, and she would hide a bit of money, and always in the front, and she'd be like, "Oh, here, that's all the money we have," so our family
Yeah.
wouldn't get hurt because I mean,
Yeah.
one of the memories I did have was that they held a gun to the brother that's older than me. So he's, here I am like 2 or 3 or whatever. So he would have been, 7 or 8 or something, and or 7. And they were like gun to his head and asking him to beg for his life. And I remember, and that's what I saw that, and then I just sort of think, and then I think.
So in the nighttime, your mum would dig holes. So like was it mud
Yeah,
or
they
something?
dig holes under the bed, and we all tried to hide under there. And I was like, I don't know if it was because I don't know the full story, where like maybe my parents or my dad or something pretend that they were the only ones in, like, it was more like that, because I mean, it was empty. They're gonna,
Well, they
so
were
I
trying
think it
to
was
protect
more
their kids.
hide the kids under the bed and stuff, and that kind of but yeah, they still that it wasn't like safe during the day because we had the UN and all that around, but it was still like at night time and stuff. It was still like not.
That's incredible.
Sort of,
how many people were in the camp, do you think, with you at the time?
I'm not sure exactly. I haven't. I've googled it before. Don't worry.
But there must have been. You must have been squashed if there's like.
Yeah, we
11
were.
Of
We
you
were definitely like that's what I mean. It was like little huts, and it would have been like, you'd be lucky if it like 2 or 3 square meters, I reckon, because I just remember I can see like I'm just always in a small thing, and like they were side by side, and even when I went to visit, it was exactly that. It was like tiny, and just walking through the dirt, and then you just houses on rows like that. I just like. It sounds bad. It's almost like going to the cemetery. You just see that.
And what about showers and toilets? I guess you'd all have to go with each other because you wouldn't want to be by yourself.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of things. I mean, I couldn't even go to the toilet lane. I always know that my brothers and sisters, 1 or 2, would be holding me, and that's where I get traumas with my bowels. I reckon for sure. I just be scared to go to the toilet, do a number 2 in public, but in general, like I was scared to go to the toilet. Because it was such a big hole. It dropped so far, and you just saw everything, the smell, and I just can't. And I can't handle any bad smell. It's like that's what, and like it smells like that. Just it definitely brings everything back.
Not going to go there, but you just go into you and your life then, because you've got 4 kids, haven't you? So you've got two older ones and 2 younger ones.
And 2 younger ones.
How old were you when you had your first one?
I was nearly 22. I was a few months, really more like 6 months before I was 22. I didn't realize I was pregnant at my 21st and couldn't drink. I should have known, but that was interesting.
Yeah, so you become maternal quite early, And
it just sort of came. I mean, at the start, like I was always like the aunt because I was always raised everyone anyway. I was the oldest, like I was the youngest of sisters and siblings, but I was the oldest. I sort of got categorized into the nieces and nephews instead because everyone went to work and I had to babysit and cook rice or whatever at from a very young age, like 8, 9 years old. We were already at home, like doing that stuff when we were in Australia, So I was, and then
to Melbourne.
Had more kids. I just became like. I was like mum. A lot of them called me mum. There was a few that I raised. So when it came to my own child, it was sort of easy. So I don't think I had an easy pregnancy and I had an easy. I'm really nurturing mother. But it gets to an age where I'm like, you're independent now. I think and I'm like, kids try to understand how that is sometimes. So that I'm an ENTP mum.
Sorry, they don't understand what.
ENTP. My daughter made me do the personality test a while back, and she's just like,
I don't even know about. I've heard about those.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's so spot on, and there's only 3% of me in the world, supposedly. But
ENTP. Okay.
Yeah, she reads about it, and like the ENTP mom, and she goes, when I sort of feel a bit down, like I'm like, stop, I raised it by myself. I did it as best as I could as a child, And but then she goes, no, mum, we read about it. She goes, this is what, and I need my own like personal goals, the things to do, and if I do those, I'm like the best parent. But it was. Were
you a single mum?
I'm like a different person. Like when I have this newborn and toddler.
But were you a single mum, Evie?
Yeah, I am.
You were a single mum then?
I've been a single mum like over 5 years, and even the first time I left Fiji and I came back with like just the backpack and left everything, my belongings, and started again. I was single for 5 years then too. It takes me a while to and then when I do find someone, I sort of hold on, but I might hold on for too long when I should.
So has it been 5 years since you broke with your ex?
Yeah, over 5 years. Yeah, it's almost 5 years. I think it's time. But I want a 6 young one.
But you, so you're what I was started to talk about with you, because
Yeah.
look at your backstory. Look where you've come from. You you must have had some issues coming out of that situation, coming to a new country and feeling there would have been fear there. There would have been like
Oh,
no
it's,
security.
yeah.
But you've got all these. You're the youngest and all
It's
that stuff. So it's
it's
all
really,
building blocks for you. Who how you become you.
yeah.
And then what I was talking about was the thing about you. I've seen you over the years. I've only met you maybe I don't know, once, twice. First met you with the Raw Women.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah, and we did the photo shoot, and
With the
I was
MS
in the hair and
people. Yeah.
makeup, you guys at your house. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
So, and you you are an attractive woman. You are a glamorous woman, but you tell me, are you made to feel like that's wrong for you to put that out?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I go to counselling, and my counsellor was like, "Do you not know how pretty you are?" And she goes, "You do realize that people hate you because you're pretty." I go, "Why?" And then I do actually try to make myself ugly sometimes, and then I'm like, "No, I feel like shit. No, I'm not doing this."
Why?
And
Don't worry,
I
when
just
you're never going to be
it's
ugly.
just easier sometimes, when you just you just want to go to the pub, or you anywhere, you go to a party sometimes, and I just get a lot of trouble, like drama, and
Well,
then
it's a
like
little
it's
bit more
just
than that, and I'm allowed to say this because you do put
yeah.
it out on Facebook. It's a little bit more than that.
Oh well, that's
You
different now. Now I'm just like I've learned to be like I didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
So
well, the thing is, that's it. You always quite often put sexual stuff up, or very much. This is
yeah,
who I am, and
yeah, because
and
I
that
am a
is who you.
very
Yeah.
yeah, I am
So
very
what's the
I'm
problem?
very sexual person, and I have no actual problem about being naked. It's just more
Mm.
that I'd be worried about my children, and like my parents, and but then other than that, like I might sometimes my issues I might feel like, oh, I'm feeling a bit fat, but 2 seconds later I'm like, oh, who cares, and I don't think that should matter. I mean, I know when there's a time and place for, like, if I'm in an event or like out somewhere where it's like, you're supposed to dress whatever. I know that, but when
Mm.
it's just my free space to do whatever, it's like I don't think it should matter. I've seen people, and it's like, well, you know what, you do you, like you go ahead, but
Exactly. Well,
yeah,
people get to certain stage in their life and they think, well, phew, I don't have to be any of that anymore. But
yeah.
why?
Well, a lot of
Why?
mine is even like from young too, but I guess my last partner did make that a big thing that I, and maybe it was a bit of a retaliation. Sorry, I have to admit. So, oops.
Tell me more. So,
But
what did he?
yeah, yeah. Because even my mum she said to me, because I did calisthenics for a year in grade 5,
Mm.
and I was doing really well, and I remember those memories because my dad was so happy. He went to every show except for the Bendigo one, and they couldn't go. But every show he'd be there with this camera. When usually, like, we were really close, and then we weren't. But then this sort of brought us back together for a bit too. But then
Yeah.
my mum's like, "Oh, you're growing boobs," so she goes, "Don't do it next year." And
Uh,
I didn't, and she regrets it to this day afterwards. And I think there's a lot of, I don't know, we can get into all of it. Yeah, growing up, even just older men who were, I became very yeah, I don't trust nice guys. I don't trust
yeah.
I never got that stuff or
Right.
anything.
So
But
there's
I
something
knew how
drew
to
something in
up it
you drew you to
around.
a bad situation or whatever you say. A
Yeah, a
bad.
few times when you just and no one would listen to me and said that I was just being loud, and so I became to just quiet about it all and didn't say anything. And
Oh,
but then even just my ex would always be like, I can wear something. He'd be like, oh, that'd be nice. Like I could say this dress is nice, and then 10 seconds later we'll get home with something, be like, that fucking dress, yeah. And then I'm like, it just gets to the point where I'm like, yeah, all right, maybe get told I'm fat or something, and there's a lot of things. So you saw when I did the competition, that was call me fat, and I'll go and enter a
no.
Sports Illustrated cover
Oh,
call.
okay. So
That was
yeah.
so much
So your
fun with
way of
everybody.
doing it is you'll go the other way. You won't sink
Oh yeah,
to.
because I'm like, you know what? I get like I think about other people's feelings, but then I realize I'm not comfortable when I'm not comfortable with how I am or what I'm doing. Eventually, I just go, I can't. I can't. There's like compromising, and then if it's not me, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
That's
That's
exactly it, and
yeah,
that's what a little bit of obviously this is about. Like I can't. My lighting's horrendous today. I keep looking at
yeah.
myself and think, oh my god, you look like shit. But this is the
No,
thing we have.
don't.
Not you, me.
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't, because you're always gorgeous. You're gorgeous naturally. I wish I could not wear makeup right now, but I feel I have to.
No. The thing is, what was I saying? What was I saying?
Just
Yeah, no,
when
we
you
have this
can't
built-in
compromise.
thing
Yeah,
about this negative thing around us,
yeah,
and it's really awful because people are different types of beauty,
yeah,
and different. And to not feel good about yourself is what's the point? Oh no, I know what it was. We have to be who we are. That's what it is. We
yeah,
have to be true to ourselves.
yeah,
Like there's no point in going, oh, okay, what she's doing is really good. I'm going to try and be exactly like her. No,
yeah.
you're
I can't,
you.
I can't do
No,
that. It's like it's not me, and
exactly.
then I feel weird.
Me
I can't
too.
do it. Yeah,
Me too. And this is why it takes a long time, but you get to the point and you realize I'm the only Rahana Hayes,
yeah,
you're the
yeah,
only Evie. Um,
yeah,
so you have to actually, thank you, Madalena. You have to accept that. And the more you accept it and the more you sit in it, then the more you actually put out who you are rather
yeah,
than you're just a facade or you're just a
yeah,
person trying to be something.
yeah.
There's no point. Yeah.
It's true, and that's what I've dealt with because of always, and I think a lot of it always is trying to please everybody around me, and then I realized where did it get me? I'm like, when I please myself, oh my god, I can do so much. Like this is so everything's so easy,
Well, just
and that's
so when I
what I've
met
learned.
you, I don't think you had your salon then.
No, I just started completing some of my courses when I was pregnant.
So
I did
tell me,
three
well, how
trade
did that
courses.
happen? Did you break
Um,
up with your
No,
partner, your
I did that
ex?
earlier. No, he shipped me to Queensland.
You what?
Yeah, when we were trying to buy houses in Melbourne, I just ran into old high school friends, like just said hi, normal things. Everything was to try and cut down who I had too many friends, or too many guy friends, cut down the guys, too many friends in general. Okay, and then you don't like where you're working because I was working on Turek Road, and he knew that a lot of I could have been like a Turek,
Oh, so he was
wife kind of
jealous
thing.
of you.
And just in the end, he just like ran off to Queensland and said I had to prove my love. So I was dumb enough to go and do that.
So hang on a
And then,
second. Here's a great saying: "Don't dim your light for anyone." Yeah, all
yeah,
the
well,
advertising
that's
that relies on women feeling that way in order to sell products.
yeah.
Yeah. So did you say that he sent you to Queensland?
Well, he ran to Queensland and said that I was like I had to prove my love kind of thing, like after he proposed to me or before he ran to Queensland. But yeah, and he couldn't. No matter where he took me, it didn't work for him because I got up there, got a job at Hyatt, and I thought, I've got my house deposit money, so I went and joined. Wasn't sure if I finished my hairdressing because that was an apprenticeship I did when I was 17.
Yeah.
So I just said beauty because I was doing lashes and I was working at Hyatt, and then I guess he impregnated me because he knew that I was wanting to go back to Melbourne or when I started my course, but I still kept going. He said, "Don't enroll now," and I went, did it while I was pregnant, and
You're talking
I
about
was like,
the
it's
one that
funny.
the
I
second.
made a home salon with just some. I made a bifold thing next to the kitchen and turned it into a salon. I was making clients, like I was getting clients left, right, and center. And then then he tried to ship me again, and we ended up in Mildura, which strangely I have two children born in Mildura,
Wow.
11 years apart. Um, and then I still started to get clients there. So then I wanted to do my hairdressing and found a course that was government funded, which was in Melbourne. And because I had to go in a few months. My mother used to get in the car with me, and we drive. We had our routine with my drinks and and stops and stuff. But my newborn and her in the back of the car, and we'll drive on Tuesday. Stay the night at my sister's. I'll go to school on Wednesday, and then go to Springway the next day and have our feed and stock up for everybody back in the country. And we'd drive back, and we did that every week for about 2.5 months, and then moved back down, and I did my hairdressing. I finished it off, and I finished it off in half the time, and then I wanted to do more. And then I got pregnant again, and did another course pregnant, and it was funny. And like I came back second term, I was just like, oh, this baby needs to get out. And I was like, I hope I go to labour tonight, and then I'll just miss Wednesday and Friday. And they're laughing at me, and I'll come back to school Monday. And then they're like,
Oh
I
my
didn't show up
goodness.
on Wednesday, and they just knew. And then I came back to school Monday. So, and
So these are your second lot, your
yeah, my
third
second
and
one.
fourth kids.
Yeah, it was good because the childcare. I learned that childcare was actually a really good thing for even my children's behavior, and like because I learned with the second, because I mean I have family around, but not really. I've always strangely don't have that many family around. So um, when the two kids were younger and I came back from Fiji, I actually ended up, like, my mum helped me out for a bit here and there for when I was working, and then my dad caused trouble. So I took my kids to Port Melbourne with me, and I got the childcare there. And my son was 4 and my daughter was 3, and I noticed the difference because when he went to school, because he only had 1 year and sort of thing, he struggled, and then she was just like, I know that boys do anyway, but he did. And then the younger kids, like, still was in childcare at 8 weeks or 10 weeks, because I had school holidays in between. And then he's like an Aquarius too, so they just make friends with everybody anywhere anyway. But it's just, yeah, I've noticed that helped, and I know that sometimes people are against that, but I'm friends with a few of the childcare mums still since then, because they raised my children for a bit too.
You've got to do what you do. You know, everyone does their own. I mean, I only had two, and after, probably later. So Gary's from New Zealand here, and so I didn't, but that was just the way I did it.
Yeah.
And there must be something about you. It seems like the child thing. Wanting to have a child to give. Did you enjoy being pregnant, or was it?
I did. I like, when I was pregnant, I was like glowing. I had the hair, but then it was like I also felt like it was a cover from people like leave me alone, like. And then my first husband was like, I'm like, fiance. He actually laughed because you do realize that man's checking you out, and he goes, men think pregnant women are really sexy. I'm like, what? I thought it was fine. But no, I did love and then being able to nurture, like, it's funny, like, and that all my partners and everyone says, you just, when we watch you, like, with the baby, and it's just so different. You've got always that, because it's like the masculine me, always working, always honey. It's like lack mentality and everything like that. But when it comes to, a little thing I have to look after, I'm like, I'll look after, I'll protect you. Like, and it was different. It was nice also because I was allowed. It's like I was allowed to have that time to just be a woman, and I found that it's strange to say, but yeah, I did a lot.
Allowed by who? You're talking about your partner?
Almost my partner, or just, because even your mums are going, oh, have you done this and that?
So you feel like you were expected to be the superwoman all the time.
Yeah, and that's where I've learned now I don't have to be, and if I even I'm alone, I feel like I'm not answering to anybody, so I can just do what I want to do.
Yeah, but you built yourself.
And I can still do it myself anyway, and I do it better. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You've got gorgeous children, and you've built yourself your own business, which is an amazing thing, really.
It's hard, but it's getting there. I'm not going to give up. That's the difference.
No.
Like,
That's
I'll get another job if I have to, when there's things are struggling. But there's goals and there's things. Like, I have long-term goals.
Do a bit of a plug for it, because it's in Scoresby. But is it only hair extensions, or do you do both?
Yeah, let's go. I have like a little salon that's upstairs. It's private. I lock the doors. We have the deck. We can have fun, and sometimes we have cocktails and things too. I mean, we talk about our life stories, but it's only for women. But if you're a gentleman or a trans, if you're going to come in your dress or your high heels, I will not discriminate there. That's the difference. But otherwise, it is a female salon, because I want that space for you to have your break, and you can bring your children if you have to, because I understand when you just want, but it is really, you can bring your work, you can whatever, and we enjoy it.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting thing to use in your advertising, that it is just for. I mean, I suppose there are women only salons, but I don't go to the hairdresser.
Yeah, but, that's right. I'll also teach you how to look after yourself at home too. Yeah. It's funny, like.
But you cut hair as well.
I cut hair. I do a lot of beauty too. Beauty's a bit down lower, but I used to be all the lash girl and tattooing stuff. But I've just been trying to focus on the hair extensions, because I'm moving that online, and hopefully that's where I can, have a bit of freedom. And otherwise, I might still keep the salon. But I do like traveling, and I do. yeah, I like, so
How much ish are your hair extensions?
like to get them installed. It
Basic.
depends which
Just
one.
a basic. Someone comes
Yeah,
along
so
and
if you're getting like 100 grams, it's starting from about $600-700 for
mm,
depending what technique you do. Like I've got keratin and I've got weft, so that's like 1.2 for 100 grams. But
mm,
some people need about 200 to 300 grams, depending. If
yeah.
that's, but
Yeah,
it
well, no,
just
I just because I said there's this thing that comes up on my Facebook sometimes, and
yeah,
she's this woman who does hair extensions,
yeah.
and she was saying they were like 2,300. I'm like,
Yeah, it does when you want
what?
like you want the whole, but you can start low, and that's why like it just depends, and
Mm,
you can build up. Like I mean, if you want that full on, and really what but
yeah,
I budget it and I make everyone be able, because you might not even like them. Like you might not like them in your head. Some people like I like the keratin and stuff. Some people hate them, and that's the difference. So
I've never even,
there's no
yeah,
point in going big, but you just have to understand that well, you're not going to achieve the full on like perfect look, but you'll do like it'll look amazing, but it's still just
mm,
and that's where you build on your hair goal, and get comfortable, because I hate it if anybody's going to do something and then they're not going to like it, and my problem is I always feel guilty, and then I'm like, no, you have to understand you just did your service and you did the right service, and you can't.
absolutely.
It's such a battle with that sometimes, but yeah, I'm learning with that, because
Well,
I
that comes down to the worth again, though, doesn't it? That comes
yeah,
back to that because it's your
yeah,
worth
yeah.
of all
So
this
that's what I
study you've
mean. So
done and
I've
all
learned that,
this.
and I think I just even just like I'm growing up, like my mum, like I learned through my business where I was always good on it. I was doing my work placement in Trucker, and Dave was just like, the advice he gave me straight away was, don't do family or friends, because that would be your worst criticism, and they want it for free. And he
Yeah,
goes, you can, and that's why I do try to do it for birthdays and stuff. Instead of, I'd say trade babysitting, or whatever it's going to be,
yep,
like what you feel is worth your same amount of money for what it's going to cost.
yep.
And but yeah, my mother would be like, oh, just give them discount because they're age, like Cambos or this and that, and it just pulled me out, and it just triggers the worst thing. And now I just sort of like, at the end of the day, I like my place. But I don't if you're going to be a customer that's not going to really make the energy feel right, I will sort of pretty much won't allow you to come back. I don't care if I'm
Yeah.
full that day, I just won't, like, and that's what I like, because I know I learn, like, when I'm like that to my other clients from carrying on the energy, and I just said, no, it's not worth it.
I agree. I
No.
think that's sort of that kind of crosses everything. If you come into contact with people whose energy you feel you don't trust them, or they're
Yeah.
giving off something which is making you feel not good about yourself, there's no
Yeah.
reason why you
Oh
have
yeah.
to
No.
have them in your life. Yes.
It's quite funny, because like everyone, I was open about that, and everyone thought I was a bit crazy or cuckoo, but it's like they sort of always knew. But when I was working in hospitality, I just say straight, I'm sorry, I can't serve that table. I can't
Yeah.
serve that table.
Yeah.
And you always think I'm a bit angry and narky, or my whatever, shush Evie, like kind of thing. I was like, well, if you don't want me to get like that, you serve that table, and I'll go and wash dishes
Mm.
if I have to, because I sort of know, and I know that it's just gonna, yeah. And it's funny that
So
they realize later, and that was quite good that I was able to do that.
just
But
don't have to go into big details, obviously, but
yeah,
so about 5 years ago, you broke up with your husband. Is that right?
yeah,
Were you married? I don't know
yeah,
if you're married,
yeah, yeah. We were
but
married. We were married
yeah.
nearly 10 years.
I mean, and which is a shit time, and you had little kids then too. Um,
Yep, lockdown.
so how did
Business,
you
they
get
weren't
yourself
helping me,
back up there?
everything.
So I think that's when you were doing the waitressing and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Hospitality.
did. I like, anytime I need extra, whatever, I'll do whatever I need to do, which, that's just what it was. And I mean, but then I became too, this is where I don't put barriers up, where, oh, can you work another day? Can you work another day? And I sort of almost neglected my own salon and
Mm.
everything. Like, and because I was just booking by appointment, but there was times where I was like, oh shit, I already had promised I'd work. And that wasn't good. But, yeah.
But you were a
So,
survivor. You're a survivor. That's what you
oh,
are. A
I'll do
warrior.
anything. Oh, don't
You're.
worry. I mean, am I allowed to say it on here?
I don't know what.
Oh yeah, no, the content stuff. That was a bit of a I don't do that kind of content, but I did that pretty much to keep my sanity when I was
Yeah.
we couldn't find a house, and we pretty much was in the salon, me and the kids in one of the rooms, two kids in one front room for 2.5 months, and
Oh, you're serious, right?
yeah, we couldn't I couldn't, because not the landlord, the agent who sold my house, like, was supposed to get me a place or look for a house to
Mm.
buy or rent at
Mm-hmm.
least. and it was supposed to be 9 days settlement. It became 45, and I had to pack this massive house and throw away so much. But we ended up being in the salon. I couldn't find no rentals available, even
So you were
no one had.
living in the salon with your
Yeah,
kids?
yeah. So that's why I was going a bit insane, and then I was like, so I renovated it, and then while I was renovating, I was worried about that how I might not get the home loan being a single mum and self-employed. So it was a bit of a reflect back to one of the companies that also sort of ripped me off a bit, and my ex-husband and the agents who I said, well, you know what, I'd rather do this than that. So I and it's quite entertaining. People came and support me, like when I did the comp, and it was just like,
Sorry,
it was
what
funny.
did you do? You can say
So
whatever
people,
you want.
should I say it?
Only,
Okay,
only if
so
you feel comfortable. But
I don't mind really, because I don't care, because I'm not. If you want to go and subscribe and see if I do
it's
it,
reality. It's
yeah. So I
reality.
actually opened a fans account
I
because I
thought
said
you were going to say
and
that. Yeah.
people thought, well, it's still the account's still there. Someone's opened an account like years before I had and they stole my Instagram picture, and I was working at the cafe, and I got about 50,000 notifications. I'm like, what? And
Oh
then
my
it was because
God.
someone had stolen my photos and opened and they've got the Facebook,
Yeah.
the Instagram page is still there, and people report it's still there. And I just saw it last night, but when my boss's son and everyone was going, do you have one of those? I'm going, oh, yeah, baby. I just licked my spoon or whatever. I was making coffee, and I just thought, you know what, you and your dad would be my biggest fan. I just
So
eat
you
food.
kind of did it because someone was
I did,
already
because
using you,
well,
and you thought,
that's
"What
what
the
happened.
hell?"
So
Yeah.
my pay was wrong, and they wouldn't amend it. So they kept asking me back. I said, for a month. I said, no, until you amend it, I'd rather have a fans only account. So I did it, and they didn't think I
Yep.
would, so I did it.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, I have fun doing it. Like, I haven't really done anything now. I've got
Yeah.
that was back then. I just made it all then. I've got a billion contents, but I just
Well, you
renovated
had
it.
to
I'm
do.
around it.
You had to survive. You had to. When you
But
said you were renovating, what were you renovating? Your
the
salon? Or
whole
your?
cell, I renovated the whole house. I renovated the whole. Do you want me to show you?
Oh,
I built
wow.
I built all that. I did my own floor, repainted. I've done the walls. I
You did it
built that
yourself.
chair. I
Yeah.
built the counter. I did. Yeah, I
And
just
so you
got
don't
bricks
live there
everything.
now, though. You don't live in
Oh,
it.
no, no, no. That was like a year and a half ago. I was there for 2.5
Yeah.
months. It was and then I
Wow.
found a house, like, bought a house, but I had to wait, like, to get the loan. At least they were like, they wanted the settlements quick, so that was good. So as soon as the bank approved me,
Mm.
I was able to move in, and I started renovating a room there for my son and stuff. And I'd like to renovate a lot more. It keeps my mind good, and I feel good doing
I
it. But I
think
just
that'd
need
be
to find.
amazing to do something like that. Yeah, I don't own anywhere, but yeah.
Oh, YouTube
Oh,
these
just
days, isn't it
interested to
funny?
know what Belinda. You said that's horrific. Are you talking about the fact that she was that someone took
Account.
over her account? I mean, the thing is, you can't be judged for what you do as a human and as a survivor and as a someone who has to fight for their kids, and you've got your kids living with you in your workplace.
Yeah, and it
Obviously, they
wasn't
were going
helping.
to
It
school and
wasn't helping at all.
everything.
Just yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't. I was open. I spoke to my children about it and stuff, and I just everything, because I was like, and like people, like, I advertised it openly because I know that I've got nothing to hide there, and I'm not ashamed of anything, because I'm not doing anything that I would upset my parent or my children. And
Yep.
it's not for me. I really wouldn't care if it was just me. Like, honestly, I'd probably be earning, like, what's her name, that's earning 43 million if I was, going there. But I don't do it for money. I do it, that's, it's like someone said to me, would you ever go like naked and anything for $1 million? I go, no. And I go, I'll do it if I was just like later in life, when I, like, say People magazine or something says, hey,
Yeah,
Evie,
yeah,
would you
yeah.
but then I would. That's different, because it's art. But
Because
does that make
it's
sense?
art and it's showing that you actually yes, her photos were being used. Yeah. That
It's scary with the photo being used, because a client, and I worry sometimes that she might have done it, an ex-client and her partner, because she's out of nowhere sends me this video of Pamela Anderson running around with my face on it. And it blended because the Chinese eyes more like with and I was just like, and then later on I thought, that's how scary it is these days. Like, so they're probably making videos right now with my face on it.
that's true. AI and
No,
everything they
I did
can
message and
do.
ask them, because they blocked me, but I got one of the guys at work gave me found it to show me. So I messaged them saying, oh, hey, I guess I can't stop you from doing this, but am I going to get a cut?
Oh,
I'm
really?
just But that's how I was. That's the only way I knew how to deal with it because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? What can I really do? Like, people are gonna do this stuff, but right now, even with Instagram, that's where I'm annoyed because I can get my old work account hacked and I can't get it back, or people can get stuff back, or whatever. But how many people have reported this page for me? And I report from my work, everything's like, this is someone's intimidating. I mean, what's the pretend to be me there anyway, and they haven't. It's still there.
Yeah.
I just reported again last night, and that's what's annoying because I am
Well, that's
studying right now.
when you're studying again.
Yeah, I've been studying TAE. So it's really hard because I didn't realize
What's that?
a lot of the people are freaking out because and then everyone thought I'm such a mess with everything happening, but I'm still ahead of most people, so I'm actually doing all right.
What
But
is TAE?
it's training and assessments at work and TAFE, but it's for my online store.
Yeah,
It's for my online store and my own, and eventually look, do you want to hear my master goal, my main plan? And people might laugh at it, but I do actually would love to have a college one day, even to take it around the world for help third world and stuff as well. But even it's just to help. I really want to help women who, went through, I mean, even men, but the children that, they shouldn't be held back from not being able to do a course or
The ones who
because
can't
of funding.
study. Yep.
So I want to be, and then it's like even just the grooming for yourself, grooming for yourself, for your own, confidence and stuff. So
Oh, that's a
and
fantastic
I looked into
achievement.
it, and it's not actually that expensive to start your own RTO and things, and it's doable, and that's what I hope to be able to do.
Well, you're in your 40s and
Yeah.
you've already got all of these achievements, so that's incredible.
Well,
So
thank
if you
you.
put your mind to it, that's the thing. You can do anything.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, I believe that, and I believe that with everyone too. That's why I'm always like, it's hard when like people say like you're being a bit empathic, well, a lot because I'm clairaudient and everything. But it's when it's always about the self-worth, because I sometimes don't believe that. I believe that my problem more is that I like to believe that everybody can change and everyone has a good side in them and they can choose to be different, and that's where it's hard to battle. But then I know that once I know that you are not willing to, that's when I go, no, I'm not here anymore. So that's where I've always known my self-worth, because I mean, I don't have a lot of friends. Like, so when in general, if I meet someone straight away, I'd be just like, well, I don't feel a vibe with you. I'm not going to be your friend just because of that. And that's where I know that that's why my self-worth, I know where
I
where I am
absolutely agree with you.
so that's where
Yes.
people can never understand that when they're like, why are you still with him? You just, you can be with him. I go, because I choose him and I want to be with him and I love him. And it's like, it's like, well, that person friend, why are you friends with it? It's like, because, and that's what I mean. Like, but then I guess I hold on too long because I just try to,
Well,
help
different
people. And
people.
then when you know that you can't help anybody anymore, you just have to go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll just
Different
cut.
people see different
Front.
things. People,
So
different
it's
people
hard
see
to
different.
explain that, and
Sorry.
I know it's a big argument
No,
about
I know
it.
what you're saying. So it's about.
Yeah,
I think different people see different things in
yeah,
people. So it might
yeah,
be something that you're actually a quality that you're only you are seeing,
yeah,
but going back to the energy thing and all of that, and yeah, we don't.
yeah,
Time's
yeah.
too little. We don't
Yeah, but
have
that's
time
why I
to.
won't. In general, usually I'm just like, nah, sorry, stay away from me. I'm like, sorry, maybe it's just me. I apologize. Like, I don't say anything, but if you just come close, I'll eventually just say, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna walk over
Time
there.
goes too fast, and we have
But
to we have to, and also if it's going to affect us in a bad way, like you said, it's not.
yeah,
What's the point? We don't have
what's
the.
the point? Yeah, I know. I had a lot to learn, even with the ex and everyone. Like I've learned a lot. Even I had a situationship over the years. But yeah, I've learned even just in recent days, and it's like, yes, I do have to learn. There is some worth, like self-worth, that I have to get over. But I
No,
still
no,
think
no.
that,
What it is if you keep being attracted to the same type of person, I suppose,
yeah,
who
yeah,
treats you in a certain way,
yeah,
and you don't stand up to that and say,
yeah.
"No, I won't
Yeah, well,
accept
that's it.
that."
That's why that's the thing where that's where the lessons I'm learning, and in that way,
Yes.
I am learning that. So it's getting scary for people, I think, because it's obvious that I'm learning that, and
Oh, well, it
yeah,
shouldn't be scary because it just makes you the stronger person. It shouldn't
oh no,
make
no, they're scared.
yeah, I know, but they shouldn't be scared
Yeah,
because
because
sorry.
that's those, but that's what I mean. For the guys who aren't strong, It's easy now. They just like
I
look at
can
me and just think, no, they're
see
going to be in
how
there. She's just going to go, nah.
I can see how
So,
strong you are, and I can
yeah,
see that there's a I hate, it's not a weakness. There's a worth thing, but what
yeah,
the thing is, the stronger you are,
yeah,
the more that'll leave you, and you'll just
yeah,
this is who I am. Well, you
yeah,
are saying that anyway. You are,
yeah,
and if you don't like me, sorry, that's not your
yeah,
problem. It's their problem.
yeah. That's it.
Um,
That's why yeah, even just through the family and everything's. But I've done that. I've started to do that, and
mm,
it's helped a lot. I think even just to help me. I think it's to help
it's
me.
really
I really
interesting.
felt I wanted to be part of a family that they still love me. They still care for me. I know that there's
Mm.
that acceptance. And then I realized, you know what, that's just how they are. And then, like the lady the other night said to me, they just got traumas too. Do you realize that? I'm going, well, yes, but I'm still their sister. You know what
Well,
I mean?
yeah,
And
but maybe
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 I'm
they've
being too
none of them
selfish.
actually have looked at it. You said one of your brothers was you haven't seen for 17 years or something.
Yeah, but he was really when we were younger, we were really close and everything. So
Mm.
it's only because he's the one that he's sort of like me too, and he's like when there's shit around, he goes, I don't want to be around. I'm just gonna go and live my
Ah,
happy life. And he does
yeah.
that. But that's why I had a good chat with him, met his new fourth wife and his son, and
Mm.
he was gorgeous. And yeah, they've just requested my friend on Facebook last night, and
Yeah.
they found me on the page, and then yeah, and see that's the thing with him and stuff. We just say like we just doesn't matter. We understand like we all have different lives and on the
But they
outside world,
won't
whatever.
talk about. It's really interesting what you started this with. They won't talk about this thing as whether you are your mother's daughter,
Yeah, no, because for
birth daughter.
the older children, I think that there's what I believe is because my mother lost my sister that's just a bit older than me, and she lost it in the camp when she was
Oh,
yeah 2 or 3, and it broke her, and she never spoke
when
about
she
it
was
until like
three.
only recent days, and it hurts. Like it's like I watched The King and I, and or whatever it is, and I saw when he lost
Mm.
his child, I felt my mother like so badly. It was just
Oh my
I
goodness!
cried and
How did
asked
that
for
happen?
it.
How did she lose a 3-year-old?
We were starving too, we were hungry, but she had
Oh,
she believed that because she got sores, and so there was this area when we were all starving because I guess like famine was hitting time too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it was the case that so this is before we went to the camp. Sorry, no, but when she passed
Mm.
away, we were supposed to be. That's why the story doesn't line up. The story doesn't line up. There's a lot of stuff that
Right.
doesn't line up. But she hasn't spoken about her until the recent years. But my mother believes that she was with my brother, and these men were eating rats, and she was so hungry she asked for some, and they gave her
Oh my
some of the rat meat,
goodness.
and she sort of got malaria that night or whatever. She
Yeah.
passed away later in that night, and even but when I was born, it sort of didn't make sense as well. And then, but one of the sisters that's sort of in between, the one that yelled at me at the funeral, she was just like, "Mum swore when you were born." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She was in pain. She's no, she swore that you were born. And I'm like, uh, like, and I asked my mum about it. But then even like the younger ones that are a bit younger, they were still young, so they're like, "You're a fan in the bin. You aren't really our sister," But then everyone says that that's just an Asian Vietnamese thing, that you're a fan in the
Yeah.
bin to one
Yeah.
child. But I think that it all stems back a lot back. But even just for me to actually say, well, am I like to say that I'm your daughter, or say, and no one will say that, just go, you're being silly. But when
Mm.
like that's the thing. I actually asked that, just say that I'm your daughter, and I thought I'd find out on but like my dad's deathbed or something. But it'd be my mum's because it's my mum who's hurt,
Wow.
and I think that I was one of my dad's because I asked them if like my dad had 2 other women at least,
Mm.
because my mum's first wife, but yeah, and apparently he did have children, and I go, oh well, I want to know my siblings, like, and I go, oh no, they all got killed and died and like Pol Pot and stuff. And I almost believe that because everyone always thinks I'm half caste, and I feel like there's French in me, but even though we're French colonized, my dad's a bit of a he's a Louis Le Pen, what's his
Wow.
name, you know what I'm talking about? And
So
I believe that I might be a French nurse's daughter, and she couldn't have taken me back. She couldn't have taken me back to France. You know what I mean? Like, oh, come back
yeah.
to
So
all
he was.
this
That's why he
attention,
was
baby.
against going to France. Now we're going to
Yeah,
Australia, far away.
yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. And I don't really like if you really look at my like that photo might have been a bit different, but in general, when you look at my family, I don't look like my siblings.
No.
Like
Oh,
I
they
was
were very
maybe
sturdy. I mean, it was a
yeah,
funeral, obviously, but they were
yeah.
very
Yeah, but just
serious.
even
And you
like
were
that's
the
what I
only
mean.
one with
Even my face,
emotion.
I look exactly like my dad. Like, yeah, and
Yeah, you were the only
I
one with emotion. That was a really interesting thing. It felt
yeah, no,
like they
weird
were.
because They were like that, and it was funny because when earlier, because when I got there, because my daughter drove me there, and we were almost like they told us the wrong time, but we were still there, and I thought everyone's up crying, and I thought I don't want to be. So I sat back a
Oh,
bit, and then I got caught up. Said no, they're going to close the coffin. I'm like, but oh, they said I didn't want to go up there and stand and cry in front of everyone,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought that it was going to go until the end of the service, and then I got there, and
Sorry, you've frozen. Oh, you've actually frozen. I hope for you. Hopefully, you guys can all still hear her because she's frozen on my end. Am I talking? Probably talking over. Um, I don't know what to do. Is gone here. Okay. Um, well, I'm going to have to end this and I'll give her a call because she's dropped out. Maybe she'll drop back in. Um, really incredible. We don't understand where some people have been through and you know the backstory. And when you find someone quite interesting because you can see their exterior and then more. Um, there's more there. You can see the pain, or you can see the something. Yeah, well, she's frozen. She's gone. Um, it's very, very fascinating. Um, I'm just going to say, I'll just give her 2 seconds, see if she comes in. But in the meantime, I thank everybody for coming on today, for being here to watch. Tomorrow night, I've got this beautiful woman called, I don't know how to pronounce her name, EGE. And um, she was in Melbourne during the protests and everything, and she was up at Epic. I remember meeting her up there. And she's currently in Berlin, and she has women's groups, but she's also been dealing with her own cancer. So I'm going to have her on tomorrow night, Tuesday, to because the Cardi Girls are still away. So also want to put a quick word out for my sponsor before I go. I think Evie's not coming back, which is Grasses of Life. So if you're interested in buying castor oil or various things, yeah. So that was our sponsor, Grasses of Life. I'll let everyone go. I'm going to let you go. Okay. So thank you, everybody. And I'll see Madalena at. She's got a huge story. I actually would like to go and visit her and sit down and talk to her because it's hard to do it online sometimes. I think it's really nice to be in the room with someone. Yeah, I love people. Most people, not all people. Oh, she's come back.
cut out, so I had to
Oh,
get
she's
my
back.
phone.
That's okay. Well,
I was
I was just over and outing anyway. But
yeah.
you were up to the part about just finish off around the funeral if you want to.
Yeah, I just so like they were all like yelling for me to go up there, and it was weird because what was really hard was because I like my car, and just I've only just started to heal like my dad's relationship like in the last when I found out like in started lockdown, and it
Yeah.
was fine. So I saw him at Christmas time, and he says, "I know that you can't get here your car and everything, and you can come whenever you can make it." And it was like but no one like and then he would always call for my name every time that he had a scare. And apparently that's all he did. And that's what sort of my daughter called me up once when like, he had the scare last year. And for a week he was just murmuring, and then no one understood what he was saying, but he was calling for me. So then I got all these phone calls everywhere, and I had to go down and visit him last year. And that's why my daughter calls me. She's, oh, how funny, how ironic it is, all that to the siblings, because it was weird. And my father did say to me once, because my ex-husband asked, he said, your daughter just wants you to hug her and tell her you love her. And he actually said, I can't because it'll make the others jealous. And
Oh, about you? They said
yeah,
that. Oh my goodness.
And my other sister, like, and I said,
Oh,
look, I was just waiting for everybody. He thought that I didn't want to come and see my dad. He said, come and see your father for the last. I'm
so
like,
when you
I
said
just
you
thought,
couldn't get out of the car, what do you mean by that? Was he in
oh
a
no, because my
nursing home?
car was broken, so it was hard for me to get, because they live up in
Oh,
Roggenvale, Madura. So,
oh,
and with me
okay. Yeah,
work,
yeah,
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 and
yeah.
it was weird because they actually he's funny because that's why, and it's quite ironic because my father actually passed away on, he was actually doing fine, but then he ate food and it went to his lungs, but it was on my firstborn's 25th birthday. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so my son's like, well, my birthday wasn't important, because I'm like, I'm really sorry about that. And he goes, but at least now it has something, a meaning, and I can remember that. Going, well, it's like, well, he wanted to make sure till the day he died that I wouldn't forget him. Like,
that's
I was just like,
amazing. So my
but
my dad died on my mother's birthday.
yeah, yeah. So
My mother's did as well, but
yeah,
yeah,
it was hard.
same thing.
Yeah, that's
That is
you know,
hard, but you know what? I just said to them, someone's crying here. I'm going to come and give you a hug. I'm going to come and visit you in your salon because I
you
think you've
should.
got
We
a
come and
huge
have a wine at the deck. You know, just look at the
story.
mountains.
Yeah. We could even do like more of your story because that's fascinating. We know a doctor. We've had a
Yeah,
doctor on. There's a few doctors who've been on who were
yeah,
deregistered because they started doing their own different kind of treatment. They didn't believe in the vaccine and all of that. And
yeah,
there's
yeah,
one who's from Cambodia,
yeah.
Mai Lee,
Well, there's a
and
long
she
story with
was
that one.
in the killing fields as well. She was,
Yeah,
and she's a gorgeous woman. She's fighting in the courts
yeah,
because she wanted to give people a different ivermectin, which is something which we know can actually cure or was good for COVID. But she's
yeah.
in the courts now fighting that because
Wow.
did that instead. She's lost all her
Yeah.
registration.
Wow, I didn't
Um,
know that. Yes, it was really, it's always
oh,
like a
lots of
a
people.
big
Yeah.
fight with everyone. That's another subject, but like, because my daughter has a lung condition, that's for me it was like I would got the vaccine and everything, because but even the flu now, I won't have the flu vaccine because it really affected me. I know COVID stuffed me up a lot, the vaccine, but I did it for my daughter and I knew I needed to do it for work. It's a shame because, yeah, in the end it was just a lot of shit, but I still believe in
Absolutely. Yes.
vaccinating
Yeah.
your child. Like, it's a big, argument, but
Yeah.
I think everyone has their own, opinion
Got to have
and
your
will
own
to do.
things,
So
exactly. But they
yeah,
push the
so
fear. They push the fear down
yeah,
everyone's throat,
yeah,
and bribery. You're going to lose
yeah,
your work. You're going to lose your
yeah,
business if you
yeah,
don't. If you
yeah,
don't. Yeah, I know a beautiful. I haven't actually met her yet. A woman
yeah,
who only had a breakup in a relationship, and she bought a florist, and she'd
yeah.
only just bought it before the whole COVID shit, and she was actually allergic to propylene glycol,
Oh, good.
and
Yeah,
she knew if she had
yeah,
that vaccine,
yeah.
she would very likely have an allergic reaction,
Were they all
because
right? Well, like, because you know how you
that's
have
in
the
it.
exemption. Did they? Did they? I
No,
hope they.
no, they would not
What?
accept an exemption. She's had massive heart problems and surgery
No,
since.
because
She's pretty much
no.
dying. She's dying.
That's fucking
Um,
bullshit. Sorry, that
yeah,
is bullshit. Because I thought that you can get a medical exemption back then. That
no, they wouldn't let her. They would not let her keep her shop open. So yeah, it's a story
yeah,
that I'm not. She didn't want to talk because she's actually going through legal stuff. But my
yeah,
friend has
yeah.
interviewed her. There's so much of that out there.
Yeah, like, well, like I say, my shop wasn't allowed to be open, and I just barely made it, and I lost a lot of clients that through it, and I
Yeah,
lost a lot of clients, and then my mental health didn't help it afterwards. Like,
and
I
physically, did
still,
you say you physically had a reaction as well?
no, no,
Or
I am allergic to a lot of things, but it was more my daughter when and then a client came, and then a
yeah.
boyfriend's close. I was worried because but I'm also got a lot of asthma, so but I've never had COVID. None of my, yeah, but I don't know if it's true or real, whatever. But any
I
test
know,
I've done,
but it's
anyway, I've
nothing.
never.
Yeah,
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 that's what I mean. So any flu, I've
yeah.
always been pretty good, and I don't really
But
get the
don't get
flu.
the
I
flu
have,
when you're right
and
because
yeah,
they've got
and I
all
get,
that crap in there. Yeah.
yeah. So it's really weird, but it was some of it was good because I did need it. I guess it worked. It came in the perfect time for me to have a bit of time to slow down and spend with my kids too.
Oh, the
But there
locks.
was a lot
Yeah.
of shit that I'm still angry about. That you can. Oh.
Yeah. You should be angry. Good on you.
And I'm
Absolutely.
hoping that I signed up for that lawsuit thing, but I haven't heard anything from it, so I don't know what happened.
Which, oh,
There
okay.
was a
What's
class
that?
action against all that with the second, because I didn't get help at all in the second, because I didn't have GST. It took me a few months to fight for $200 a week,
Oh,
and they don't
God.
back pay.
I didn't
And
know
I was
that
just
one.
lucky with
Wow.
Facebook that an old customer from a cafe I worked at actually saw it, and she goes, I'm working in a law firm, and she told me how to get it, and
Yep.
I still can test it with Centrelink. But yeah, that's
Oh,
how
yeah,
funny it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's
Yes.
funny how people can help you. Like it's good that sometimes I talk a lot, but
Yeah, no, you
yeah,
should, everyone, and they should be bombarded with
yeah,
people who are angry.
yeah,
So every time I watch Miley interviewed, I learn more of her horrific childhood stories and wonderful
yeah.
achievements to become a doctor.
Sorry, I can't
Yeah,
read
she
this
became,
small.
and as an Australian, I've never realized how their life in Cambodia was so difficult.
Oh yeah, like yeah, it's funny, but like
Um,
they do training and stuff. Like a lot of my older brothers, like the one that hadn't seen for he was the best tailor. We all became
wow.
tailors. Like I picked up on it later. I love sewing and I do a lot of sewing stuff. But that's yeah, all my brothers and sisters know how to. They're like we came here and we were like
So
you could do all
from
the
nothing,
yeah
you became these incredibly,
yeah
what do you call it? Under, uh, what am I thinking? The words, out of horrendous situations, you've just become so
we
resilient and
did
being able to do so
yeah.
many things.
But
Well,
there's
thank
still a
you.
lot of other the negative side is that the lack mentality. That's what I've been working on. Being able to receive without having to feel that you owe somebody anything. That's a
Yeah,
my big issue that I've been having to work with the
to
last
be
couple of
able
years.
to receive and
Yeah,
not
I can't.
feel
I feel like I have to earn everything that I
no. That's
do,
that's a
and I
great
know
thing
that
to
that's the
say.
big thing. So yeah, I didn't think that that was an issue, but you learn.
Well, let's hopefully you receive lots
But
of
yeah,
customers. Thank
yeah.
you so much,
Thank
Evie, for
you for
coming on
having me, and
today.
sorry
It was
everyone.
lovely. So I'm
I'm
just
not
going
very
to
good
end
with
with
technology.
a little cafe lockdown thing because that's what
Yeah.
platform it goes on. But
Yeah.
really lovely. I'm so glad we had a chat with you.
Yeah. And
Lots of
sorry,
people
everyone, I
loved
can't
hearing you.
read. The titles are too
It's a
small, so I can't.
fascinating story, Evie. Love to hear more of your life story.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah,
I'll be
cheers.
in touch.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
But wait, can you hear our children crying? They're calling from all over this land. They're glaring at today's page.